Hey guys, sorry about all that. Apparently there was probably a bad connection somewhere. I was trying to get the main event talk to get started and everything, but it seems like all connections are correct and everything is just right. And now it's being set. Now I've got this done, and now it's being shown all over. But it's not only being shown on Facebook Live as it's happening right now. This is also being tagged. I've got a couple of people that are tagged in this particular episode of the Main Event Talk. But before I mention who it is, welcome to this very, 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 very very special edition, and this is truly a very special edition of the Main Event Talk live as it's happening on Facebook. Now, I've said this on numerous occasions. Okay, why am I seeing this? Well, I see Marco here and Fabian in the house and everything else like that. Okay, but I don't understand why I'm seeing these invites right here. I'm actually going to try and press it if I can. Let's see if I can invite them to come in. Okay, so just like last time, I can't invite anybody. So I'm looking this on the screen right here in front of me as it's happening on Facebook Live. And apparently, who's ever joining me on this episode of the Main Event Talk, there's an invite that's right there where my finger's at, and I'm supposed to press it, right? But unfortunately, I can't really invite anybody on this show, which absolutely sucks. But anyways, let's get to what I need to talk about. I've already talked about everything that I need to talk about as far as WWE SummerSlam goes. Of course, the main event wants to go ahead and get this thing started. Okay, and big shout out to Lewis right now, a very close friend of mine, known him for a while. He's kind of the big reason why I'm doing this episode of the Main Event Talk. Now, he sees me. Okay, here we go again. Okay, once again, I'm seeing, like, 1 minute I'm seeing like everything's fine right now, next minute try to reconnect and everything else like that. So I'm going to try and come right straight to the point with everybody, because this is extremely important that I put out this episode of the Main Event Talk, because I'm putting the spotlight, if you will, on the pro wrestling spotlight. For a long, long time, I have been a part of several different Facebook pages, and I've always felt that there was only one Facebook page that deserves my attention. One Facebook page that deserves to be recognized on this episode of the Main Event Talk. And Lewis, you're a big part of this whole deal, because after all, you've been a part of this Facebook page, and now apparently it's no more. I'm talking about the originator, the Pro Wrestling Spotlight, which is no more. I don't know the full story behind what happened. I know that I've always been a part of the Pro Wrestling Spotlight for a very, very long time. But now that the Pro Wrestling Spotlight is no more, now there are two new pages that are out there right now that the Main Event is spreading it all out to you. All of you that's watching this episode of the Main Event Talk. The first is the Spotlight 2.0, and the second is the Pro Wrestling Spotlight, if you will. Let's see, since 2011. Yes, you've been a part of it since 2011. I was a part of it, I think, since 2010, probably around there and everything else like that. I was a huge fan of it for a while, and much like the Joe Louis Arena, it's saying goodbye, it's saying it's farewell, it's finished, it's over. The Pro Wrestling Spotlight is also finished and also done as well, which is very, very sad to me, because, you know, when I heard about it and when I read some of the comments and everything, I was very, very sad. And I know most of you guys are probably sad the fact that the Pro Wrestling Spotlight is no more. There were a lot of things, a lot of stuff that was said and everything, and I'm very, very sad that the Pro Wrestling Spotlight is no more. But there is an alternative. There is the Spotlight 2.0, and there's also the new Pro Wrestling Spotlight that the Main Event just had an opportunity to like. So for those of you that are watching this episode of the Main Event Talk, I'm probably getting a whole new viewership that's watching this episode right now, wondering who this guy is. Who am I? What am I talking about? And why am I making such a big deal about the Spotlight 2.0 and the Pro Wrestling Spotlight? Let me tell you why. I was a huge fan of the Pro Wrestling Spotlight when it first came in the scene back in 2010. I heard about it and I started liking their pages. I started reading their views, understanding their formats. They knew everything about what's going on. Let's see. Who are you? Let's see. I believe this is Mash. Well, I can't really pronounce your name, but let me explain to you who I am. My name is Furman Torres, and I'm from Corpus Christi, Texas. I'm the biggest wrestling fan in the world. I'm the biggest metalhead on the planet. On this, you'll see something that's entitled The Main Event Talk. I am the main event player. I'm one of the biggest wrestling fans in the world. And I'm expressing my thoughts on the Pro Wrestling Spotlight. And I'm also not only expressing my thoughts on them, I'm also expressing my thoughts on Pro Wrestling Spotlight 2.0 and Pro Wrestling Spotlight, the Pro Wrestling, the other Facebook page. The reason why I'm expressing this is because the original Pro Wrestling Spotlight is no more. It's done. It's no longer around, and now I feel like I must express what I need to express here. That's fine. One can pronounce my name. Okay. My apologies, to you and everything else like that. I can't pronounce the name, but this is not about me right now. This is not about the Main Event Talk. This is about the Pro Wrestling Spotlight. I've been such a huge fan of the Pro Wrestling Spotlight that, as a matter of fact, I had an opportunity to bring out something that has a lot to do with the Pro Wrestling Spotlight. And Lewis, if you're watching this, I think you know what I'm talking about. A long time ago, I think it was back in 2012, the Pro Wrestling Spotlight did something called a Raw 1000 trivia questions. They did 20 questions, and whoever got the most questions would win. So I got most of the questions right, got it done and everything. And I got a prize out of that whole deal a couple of weeks later, and it actually showed up. There we go. I'm sorry once again, guys. Having a little bit of bad trouble and everything with my internet connection. I've been trying to get what I need to get out and everything else like that. But anyways, a long time ago, the Pro Wrestling Spotlight did something about the Raw 100 trivia questions. I had the most answers, and I had a prize that was messaged to me by somebody, and I have a gift from the Pro Wrestling Spotlight. This gift right here that you see before you. Now, I don't know if you can see it or not, but if you look at it very, very closely, this is a WWE Classic Wrestling with the Outsiders, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. And I got to tell you, where it says trying to connect, trying to reconnect, now it's back on. I thank the Pro Wrestling Spotlight for this, because this is one of the reasons why I became a huge fan of the Pro Wrestling Spotlight. This is it right here. I thank the Pro Wrestling Spotlight a whole lot for this. That's why, and since then, I've been such a huge fan of the Pro Wrestling Spotlight. But now that the Pro Wrestling Spotlight's no more, now it all comes down to the Spotlight 2.0 and also the Pro Wrestling Spotlight, the new Pro Wrestling Spotlight. Oh, you were the winner. Congratulations. I remember that contest. Cool. Yeah. If you remember that contest quite well, I was a part of it. I had answered several different questions about Monday Night Raw, got the most answers, got the prize. It showed up over here, and I've had it since this was 2012 when this took place. Now, I have it at 2012 or 2017 now, and I've had this for a while. And like I said before, I thank the Pro Wrestling Spotlight for this, and I'm hoping one day, if you guys, the Pro Wrestling Spotlight 2.0 or the Pro Wrestling Spotlight ever decide to do another contest like that ever again, you can bet your ass the Main Event's going to do it, and you can bet your ass that I will answer anything wrestling. That's how it goes. I thank you guys for that. So, to give you guys the Pro Wrestling Spotlight, Pro Wrestling Spotlight and the Spotlight 2.0, an idea of what the Main Event Talk is about. My show has always been about wrestling, has always been about metal, has always been about anything cool or controversial. I'm always someone that I don't give out spoiler alerts. I go ahead and speak my mind about what I think about professional wrestling. I speak my mind about what's going to happen, how it happens, will it happen, and what the fans actually think. We're losing an audience. There we go. Come on. Don't know. Okay, this is okay. We're back on. We're back on. So, the main event talk. This talk has always been controversial in its own ways. I don't give out spoiler alerts like everyone else does. I always feel like spoiler alerts have been done to death. I've always feel on my show, I give what you guys want to hear, as opposed to how all the other guys want to hear it. For instance, everyone talks about WWE SummerSlam coming up on August 20th. It's going to take place, you know, about the Universal Championship deciding the fatal four-way matchup, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman versus Samoa Joe. That's going to be okay, there we go. I'm sorry guys, it's been a trying week right now. I've been trying to share the page, spread the word that will help this page, and yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. On this page, if you guys are watching this right now, I suggest you like the Spotlight 2.0 and the new Pro Wrestling Spotlight, because they will give you all the wrestling information that you deserve to hear, all the inside scoop of how it goes, and sometimes they give out spoiler alerts as well as to what's going to happen and everything else like that. Just like the main event talk, I always give out my own personal spoiler alerts and what I think will happen. And I've said this many times before on my main event talk, I give you guys exactly what you want to hear as opposed to what everyone else wants to hear. And what I'm saying, at SummerSlam, I think Roman Reigns will win the Universal Championship, and a possibility, whether anybody likes it or not, a possibility if Roman Reigns becomes the Universal Champion at SummerSlam, we could possibly see for the first time since 2013, or since 2014 to be exact, the reunion of the Shield. I'm talking whatever. Okay, there we go. Okay, I think we're back on once again. Well, you know, I'm really, really sorry for this, guys. I mean, I've been trying to get my internet to work and everything else like that. I know I paid the cable bill, I swear to God. So anyways, I was mentioning earlier about SummerSlam. I'm mentioning the possibility of Roman Reigns winning the Universal Championship, and also a possibility of a Shield reunion to take place. And pretty much the signs are there if anybody's looking at this very, very closely. And let's be honest, let's call it like we see it. I think the Shield would get back together at SummerSlam. You know, a lot of people may disagree or may agree with this, but the signs are there. I mean, Roman Reigns is pretty much going to win the Universal Championship from Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, and also Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. I mean, they sort of got back together on Monday Night Raw, and did you notice that you know, Seth Rollins had the fist out and Dean Ambrose didn't want to go for it? That's kind of a sign right there. I know some people will probably agree or disagree with this, but you know what? That's how it is. That's how I feel, and you know, it needs to be out there for everyone to check out. So expect a Shield reunion to take place at SummerSlam. And if you don't value my opinion and everything else like that, then I suggest you view the opinions of the people at the Spotlight 2.0, like their page, and also the Pro Wrestling Spotlight, like their page as well. Okay, like I said, I'm spreading the word out to everyone and say, hey, like the Spotlight 2.0 and also like Pro Wrestling Spotlight. Get it out of the way. Of course, a lot of other things that happen at SummerSlam besides the Universal Championship. Of course, we see what's going to happen for the WWE Championship. It's going to possibly happen. Jinder Mahal will defend his championship against either John Cena or Shinsuke Nakamura. And I think there's a lot of people that can, and I agree with this, it doesn't matter if Shinsuke wins over John Cena or not, as long as we see a tremendous wrestling match to take place. And I think that will happen. I think Shinsuke is going to put a good show this coming Tuesday night on SmackDown against John Cena. I see it coming, and you know what? To me, I agree. It doesn't matter if Shinsuke wins or not. You know, personally, I just want him to have a good match with John Cena, and I think John Cena will go up against Jinder Mahal, and he will become a 17-time world champion at SummerSlam. I think that's going to take place. Nakamura is going to carry him. In the match. I agree with that. I think he will carry John Cena in the matchup at this coming SmackDown. SmackDown, is it just me, or is SmackDown a whole lot better than Raw? I mean, whether anybody likes it or not, hey, whether the Pro Wrestling Spotlight 2.0 digs it or the Pro Wrestling Spotlight digs it, they will probably agree upon what I say, like their page. I'm spreading this out for everyone to look at, say, hey, like their page, okay? I don't give a rat's ass how you do. I don't care if you're sitting there, lined up on the computer right there with a Sprite in your hand, trying to do whatever you can, like the page. Like both pages if you have to. Check everything out. And if you're spreading this out, I know the Pro Wrestling Spotlight is somehow spreading this out for everyone to say, hey, check out this main event talk. Check out this guy talking. Check out the biggest wrestling fan in the world, the biggest metalhead on the planet, the god of my gods, the king of my kings, the coolest son of a motherfucking bitch, walking God's green earth, telling you to like the Spotlight 2.0 and like Pro Wrestling Spotlight. I'm getting it out, okay? Other things in my mind besides WWE SummerSlam. Let's see. Everyone saw UFC 125 or 214. I'm sorry. My apologies. 214. And let's get this out. We all saw it. Jon Jones won his matchup. I'm glad he did, and I predicted that he would win in the third round. So now Jon Jones has called out the beast incarnate, Brock Lesnar. The beast incarnate, Brock Lesnar. Let me tell you, and I gotta say this because I can. I like Jon Jones. I think he's a tremendous competitor. I think he will give Brock Lesnar a good run. But Brock Lesnar, this is the beast we're talking about. This is the beast incarnate, the mayor of Suplex City. He is gonna take Jon Jones to limits he's never been to before. And you know what? This is the truth, whether anybody likes it or not. If Brock Lesnar chooses to take on Jon Jones in the near future, how about we put Jon Jones not in the octagon, but in the wrestling ring? Put him in the ring against Brock Lesnar. I guarantee you, Jon Jones may fit in the WWE. Who knows? Or, if it's reversed the other way around, we'll see if Jon Jones can beat the beast inside the octagon, if it can. Remember, there was a certain particular Samoan, Mark Hunt, who tried to beat Brock Lesnar, couldn't, and look what happened to him. You know, that's how it goes. But nonetheless, guys, to me, and I gotta say this because I can, I really like the chance of seeing Brock Lesnar against Jon Jones. That's going to be one hell of a matchup to check out. You know, that's going to be something huge to check out. Now, if you can't take my word for it, take the word of the Spotlight 2.0 and the Pro Wrestling Spotlight for its word, because they'll give you all the information, everything, just like their page and everything else like that. So, let me get out, what else can I possibly talk about on this episode of the Main Event Talk? All I'm doing basically right here on this episode, let's see, who is in here? What channel is the what? Okay, I'm not sure what channel you're looking for, but if you're looking for the Main Event Talk on YouTube, all you got to do is go to Main Event Videos and check that out, because I'm not only going to, you know, since this is being, you know, posted Facebook Live and everything else like that, I will also put this video out on YouTube for everyone to see. That way, the Pro Wrestling Spotlight gets the view, and also the Spotlight 2.0 will get its view as well. Because like I said before, this is not about the Main Event Talk. This is about showing my respect to the Pro Wrestling Spotlight, since it's no more, and now we put the Spotlight 2.0 on the Spotlight, so to speak, and also the Pro Wrestling Spotlight on the Spotlight as well, right here in the Main Event Talk. So I'm telling all of you to spread the word to every single wrestling fan that the original Pro Wrestling Spotlight is no more, but we got Spotlight 2.0 and the new Pro Wrestling Spotlight out there for everyone to check out. So I suggest you like their page as much as you can, and you tell them the Main Event recommends it. Okay, now there's probably a couple of things, a couple of other things I want to get out, but let me go ahead and just get out one other thing before I go ahead and leave. We know that SummerSlam is coming up in 4 weeks away, happening on the WWE Network. I had an opportunity to check out the WWE Network. I have that in my house and everything else like that. I love checking out some old school wrestling pay-per-views. And I'm talking about these old school wrestling pay-per-views that you don't see anywhere else except the WWE Network. I was checking out WrestleMania 5 from a long time ago. The Madness, the Mega Powers Explode, Hulk Hogan versus the Macho Man Randy Savage, and that was one of the most classic pay-per-views I've seen in a long time. I used to remember watching the Coliseum video version when it was on home video a long time ago, and I saw that, and that was one of my all-time favorites. But when you actually see the entire pay-per-view, I'm like, oh my God, I mean, there's some stuff that I missed that I've never ever seen before. It's the first time I've ever seen it. I love watching some of this old stuff. WrestleMania 5, WrestleMania 6, this Tuesday in Texas, Survivor Series from 1991. There's a bunch of stuff in here that I have not seen in years, and I'm so glad that the WWE Network is showing all of this old school wrestling. The next time I'm gonna get a chance to check out some old school WCW, some old school ECW, and the whole 9 yards. So now you guys have gotten an opportunity now to see how this main event talk works, okay? I have always, like I said, I've always been the biggest wrestling fan in the world, and now I'm displaying this for the Spotlight 2.0 and for the new Pro Wrestling Spotlight to spread the word that the main event talk is out. And I'm also spreading the word out that the Spotlight 2.0 and the new Pro Wrestling Spotlight, you need to like their Facebook page as much as you can, because they'll give you all the inside scoop, all the backstage information that you want to know, anything on any wrestling, anything wrestling period, whether it's funny, whether it's cool, whether it's ridiculous, or however it goes. Either way, the Spotlight 2.0 and the new Pro Wrestling Spotlight will give you all the wrestling information you need, whether it's NXT or WWE or TNA or Impact Wrestling, however it goes, or Global Force Wrestling, or however they go to, of course, Ring of Honor, Lucha Underground, and the whole 9 yards. I guarantee you they'll give it to you, and so much more. So, the main event, okay, well, I did have a little bit more that I wanted to talk about, but you know what? I think I'll set it aside for another episode of the Main Event Talk when I have the opportunity. But I just want to sit back, relax here, and just tell you, all of you that are watching this episode of the Main Event Talk, because I've done a lot of firsts on this Main Event Talk, but for the first time, I have never thought that I would ever do a Main Event Talk where the focus is on one thing and one thing only, and that is, well, 2 things: the brand new Pro Wrestling Spotlight, and of course Spotlight 2.0. And like I said before many times on this show, like their pages, I guarantee you. And I also want to say to Lewis and to, I think, Alexander the Great, and I think there's a few other administrators that are on there. They're probably watching this episode right now. I just want to say to you guys, thank you for the original Pro Wrestling Spotlight. I had loved how you guys put out this Facebook page from a long time ago, because, I started liking it since 2010. It came to an end, I guess, in 2017. It's no more. I thank the Pro Wrestling Spotlight a whole lot, because you guys were not only, informative of what you guys do, you also understand the pro wrestling business. Not the sports entertainment part, the pro wrestling business. You understand what's real and what's fake about the business. And you guys also understand that when it comes to professional wrestling, there's no such thing as fake, all right? There's nothing fake about pro wrestling. I don't give a rat's ass what anyone says. If you guys, all you so-called wannabe wrestling fans, and you know who you are, that are watching this episode, there are millions of wrestling fans that are watching this episode right now and that are agreeing with everything I say, including the fact that when I say the words pro wrestling isn't fake, everyone agrees. But if some ham-nigger, some moron, some jackoff, some idiot decides to go ahead and tell all of you that the WWE, that TNA Wrestling, that NXT, that all of these wrestling organizations, someone decides to tell you that wrestling's fake, you do yourself a favor, you find that Hammernager, you beat them to a living pulp, you hit them with a pile driver, you nail them with a clothesline, you put them at the very, very top rope, you go there, you hit them with a Macho Man elbow, you drop them with a Hogan leg drop, you hit them with a Stone Cold Stunner, and drink a beer as you go along, hit them with a rock bottom, hit them with a People's Elbow, you hit them with whatever the fuck you want, and if they manage to stand up and say those words, then they mean what they say. But if they don't stand up, you tell them you just went to Suplex City, bitch. Wrestling ain't fake. So go fuck yourself. So, on behalf of myself and everyone that has ever liked the original Pro Wrestling Spotlight, to Lewis, to everyone, guys, I thank you very much. Because much like the Joe Louis Arena from last night, you know, it said farewell, goodbye to the St. Joe Louis Arena. We say goodbye to the original Pro Wrestling Spotlight. I thank you guys very, very much for everything you guys do, including this right here. I thank the Pro Wrestling Spotlight for doing this. I got this prize from those guys, and I thank them a whole lot. And this will always be something that will mean the world to me. I thank you, the Pro Wrestling Spotlight. I thank you guys so much for this. And out, as the old saying goes, out with the old and in with the new. The Pro Wrestling Spotlight, the original Pro Wrestling Spotlight, is no more, and the Spotlight 2.0 and the brand new Pro Wrestling Spotlight is what's in. So I'm encouraging all of you, the main event is encouraging all of you to like both their pages, like the Spotlight 2.0 and like the new Pro Wrestling Spotlight, and spread the word. The original Pro Wrestling Spotlight is no more, the Spotlight 2.0 is in, and the brand new Pro Wrestling Spotlight is in. So guys, thank you very much for watching this episode of the Main Event Talk. I hope you were entertained about everything that I told you and everything. And of course, tonight I'm going to be watching a little bit more of some classics from the WWE Network, so I'm hoping you guys are doing the same thing. Of course, tomorrow night, WWE Raw is taking place. I will probably give my little commentary about what's going to take place on Monday Night Raw. And of course, WWE SmackDown is going to be awesome. Shinsuke Nakamura goes one-on-one against John Cena, the winner to take on Jinder Mahal for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. Of course, I'm also wondering about what Brock Lesnar's comments and what Paul Heyman's comments are about what Jon Jones had said. Is the Beast going to accept Jon Jones' challenge? We'll all find out right here. So once again, thank you very much, Pro Wrestling Spotlight. And like I said before, please like the Spotlight 2.0 and please like the brand new Pro Wrestling Spotlight. Lewis, I thank you very much. And to all of my new viewers that are watching this, watch the Main Event Talk live as it happens right here on Facebook, and you can also see it on YouTube as well. Look for Main Event videos and you'll see the main event as only he can. Once again, thank you very, very much. We will miss the Pro Wrestling Spotlight, but trust me, long live the Pro Wrestling Spotlight. And now, to all of my viewing audience, to some of you that know where this is going, you guys and the Pro Wrestling Spotlight is going to get the Lying Among Lines on YouTube. You know how the line goes. And just in case you don't, there's all sorts of wrestling lines that you know about for years. Everything from, and that's the bottom line, 'cause Stone Cold says so. Everything from, my name is Enzo Amore, and I am a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. Everything from what you're gonna do when Hulkamania runs wild on you. Everything from, ooh yeah. How about, let's see if you know this one. The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. To even, if you smell what The Rock is cooking, you know about all those lines. But this is the line that all of you are going to know about for the rest of your life. To the Pro Wrestling Spotlight. Why? Because I can, And I want to, any questions? Enough said. Pro Wrestling Spotlight, thank you very much. And I'll see you guys on the flip side. And like I said before, like both their pages. I guarantee you, you will not be disappointed.